welcome, everyone. We're to our another episode of Burn and Learn. Super excited to come back and share some information around cigar lifestyle with you. We're again super excited to continue to have an opportunity to share our perspective on things. We're super excited to have an opportunity as well to be able to do that over a stick at Rebellion Cigar Room, right? So thanks to Justin and James for continuing to allow us to use their venue for this purpose. Super excited about that. So want to make certain that I give them their due credit. By way of intros, again, my name is Steve Mann. I'm in the process of launching and creating a company called Stogie Hub. Super excited about it. We're getting pretty close to launch. As I mentioned, there will be an opportunity to stay updated on some of the things we're doing by following us on Instagram, stogie.hub, as well as going to the stogiehub.com website, drop your email address in there. We'll keep you updated on our progress. But again, shouldn't be long now before we're in final testing and then we're straight to market. So super excited about that. More to come. So that's me. I'd like maybe Chris, a quick introduction.
Welcome to another episode. My name's Chris. I don't have much of an introduction, but I will be helping with the website. My day job is software tester, so I will be helping with testing the website. So yeah,
nice. We're super excited. Chris and I are co-hosting. We're super excited to have a special guest, Christal Golston. We're happy you're here. Thanks for having the opportunity to spend with us this evening, especially on short notice. I will let you give an introduction on your background and just let folks know.
So again, my name is Christal Golston. I am happy to be here with you guys. I am a local entrepreneur in the Fairfax area. I have a genetics lab and a med spa and a real estate company. I just kind of do a little bit of everything. I've actually known Steve for, like 18 years or so. I myself have been smoking cigars for only about 8 years, and I am excited to bring a woman's perspective to this podcast, and we'll just see how it goes.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, again, super excited that you're able to join us. Again, we're creating this as a space and opportunity for everyone. So as we think about guests, you will see a very broad range of guests, right? We certainly know that everyone has an interest in the cigar aficionado lifestyle. So we want to have that broad market view represented by the guests that we bring on, right? So you'll see a little bit of everything. And we're excited about some of the things we have, not only in this episode, but some of the things we have lined up for future episodes. Super excited about that. So I think for us, this is a great opportunity for us to think and share with the folks that are watching. And it's also a great opportunity to share a conversation over a stick, as well as share a conversation around some of the things that we use to light the stick, the cutter, the lighter. Again, as I mentioned on earlier podcasts, as my palate for cigars has evolved, so too has my palate for accessories. So I'm all about the ritual. So it's not just the cigar. It's about the cutter, the lighter, the case, everything that goes along with it. So I'm as passionate about that as I am about the cigar. So with that being the case, I think we all have a cigar that we've selected for today's episode. Christal, I think you've got, what do you have there?
Signature.
Okay. She's got a Davidoff signature. I've got a Davidoff, a Colorado Claro, and Chris, what do you have there?
LFD, a La Flor Dominicana Colorado Escudo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut and light. I have what I typically don't use this often. Actually, a cigar knife. I carry this in my bag. I don't use it often. I do tend to use it more for the torpedo type size, right? My preferred cutter is a punch. Next would be a deep V, and then a straight cut. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a quick cut at an angle here. right? Or I could like cut yours as well.
So I have one of those too, and it's hard for me to use it. I always end up cutting a little too much.
I've never tried it.
So let me see that after you're done. So here's what I do, and I've seen some people. I've actually saw somebody else do this, and I tried it as well. So what I do is you get the knife out all the way, and you just kind of slightly cut around the.
Oh yeah, there's no way I could do that.
We're live. Don't mess up. We're not editing that.
And we don't have medical, right? So
See now the cap just came off.
you cut yourself. We're taping, so we're not stopping.
This is actually a very, very sharp
We'll
knife.
get you some medical attention after the episode. So yeah, careful.
Yeah, it draws perfect. So
Okay. Lighter. So again, I've got a DuPont Legrand, and so again, I just tend to just toast around the edges with the torch flame.
and that's got the double flame and the torch, right? You could both.
It's got the dual flame, and then you can press the button up, in the torch, and it changes to a torch.
I'm using the I believe this one. Yeah, this one is also made by ST DuPont. It's a Davidoff, just a single flame, jet flame.
So let me ask you a question. What makes you super interested in a specific layer?
It's all, to be honest, for personal catalysts. Like when I first started, well, let me back up. So the first cigar that I had, my first job out of undergrad, I joined a commercial bank in Baltimore. And I was, a 22-year-old college graduate. And I joined a lending group with very senior guys, right? So at the end of the day, I ended up doing all of the credit write-up and all the analysis, and they would take me out on sales calls, right? And so there were times when we go out on sales calls in the evenings with customers and bankers or lighting up cigars. And at first I was kind of like, not my thing. Until my mentor pulled me aside and was like, yeah, it needs to be your thing, right? So thanks to Bruce for that. Appreciate it. But when you think about that initial experience, and this is going back 1996 to where I am now, quite an evolution, right? Like I can't even remember in the early days what cutter or lighter I used, right? I really didn't care, it didn't resonate with me. But as I went from kind of lower end cigars to more higher end cigars, I wanted to match I wanted to elevate my accessory game to match the elevation and the evolution of my palate for the cigars. Yeah. So for instance, Chris knows, everyone that knows me well, Davidoff is my line. And so I wouldn't light at this point a Davidoff with a lighter that doesn't match the elegance and the luxury of the Davidoff cigar. So that's my thing. So it starts with the lighter, and because I'm carrying a DuPont or Davidoff lighter, I now have to have a DuPont or Davidoff cutter. My case has to match color and manufacturer. And in it, for me, again, it's a whole ritual. And so started with the cigar. As I learned more about the cigars, I also learned more about the things that complement the cigar well. So that's my perspective. And so and what does that look like today, right? Like, DuPont's my favorite lighter. I think I probably has 12 DuPont lighters. Does anybody need 12 DuPont lighters? No, right? But all of those serve a different purpose, right? And so, and I use them for different things, right? And so cases, multiple cases, right? Same thing. It just depends on where I'm going, who I'm going to be with, and that determines the package that I pull together for that evening or for that event. What about your thoughts on lighters and accessories and how you think about packaging?
Yeah. So let me first kind of explain how I got into it. So I was watching YouTube when I was first kind of getting started into smoking cigars, and I saw this video by this YouTuber Kirby Allison, and he was with the Sahakians at the Davidoff of London store, and he whipped out Eddie Sahakian whipped out a DuPont Line 2 lighter, which is very similar to that one, except it's a smaller one. It doesn't have the jet flame, but it's kind of like their DuPonts are known for like their regular soft flame, the Line series. And so I was like, what is that? And he's just kind of sitting there, open it up, got a soft flame up, and he was just slowly toasting it. And I was like, that's badass. And so I kind of did the research into that. Yeah. And then I ended up buying one, and I have a few of them now. And so and in terms of when I'm going out for the day to smoke cigars, it would typically be, what do I really feel like? Or if I'm going to smoke a Davidoff, I'll bring a Davidoff DuPont. So I do have a Davidoff DuPont Line 2. And then I always bring this Davidoff, jet flame just to have. And from then on, I just kind of, it's like, what am I really feeling like? And then depending on if I'm just going to the lounge, I know, and I'll bring some of my nicer stuff. If I'm going somewhere where I'm unfamiliar with the place, maybe I'll bring some of my cheaper stuff, right, just because you never know. Yeah. And then actually and I also think about what kind of bag I want to bring too, right? So I have multiple little go bags, and I don't know. I kind of.
Now I'm going to say I'm chuckling a little bit, but I'm laughing because you stress over the ritual just like I do.
Yeah. So
even today, just planning to come out and tape the podcast, I'm halfway here, and I'm like, I didn't bring exactly what I wanted to bring, right? So it's a missed opportunity for me.
But I have several bags, these little bags or backpacks. These days I like to carry a man purse, I guess, if that's, yeah. I have several of these little man purses, and
you hear that.
I think it's funny because I feel like whenever I'm in a cigar lounge or a private club, it's the only time that I see men really trying to impress other men.
I love the perspective, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
because who knew it? Because who knew it, right?
And I feel like when I hear you guys talking, it's like I know, I'm going to pick this purse because I know it looks hot, and other women are going to appreciate it. And you guys know that other men are going to see what you have because, let's be honest, it's usually 99% men, and there's maybe one or two women at the most. There's not that many that come. And most women are not going to know how much you spend on your lighter or how much you spend on your cutter, but all the men in the room are going to know. It's the same thing where it's every woman knows how much somebody spent on her shoes or her purse or whatever the case may be. And the guy's just going to be like, oh, that looks hot.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I love that perspective. One of the things that I have noticed is that if you're at a lounge where maybe you haven't been there before, you're kind of going to check it out. When you pull out your DuPont Legrand and it makes that perfect thing, people will tend to look up, right? They're like, okay, who has that? Where's it coming from? So, I have noticed that. So on occasion where I don't want to create that vibe, I have been known to just open my DuPont without the pin because I don't want to draw. It's just an odd feeling to draw attention in that way.
What I do is I bring instead of my bigger man purse, I bring a small one, so I can just
really comfortable with saying man purse. I like the way how comfortable you are with repetition. He's super comfortable with repetition around man purse. I'm working up to it. You're more comfortable than I am.
So, one time I have a
big man purse. Don't be shy.
I have thought about wearing a fanny pack.
No.
Telling you right now, that would be the end.
You have the one that's a sling?
Yeah. I have the sling, and I guess it could double as a fanny pack.
No.
Yeah.
Nah.
Because how convenient, you could just reach into it, and if you go somewhere, just it's on you.
That's
But
going to be a no.
And I don't care.
I mean, it's not up for negotiating. Like, that's just going to be a hard no. Like, you show up with a fanny pack, I'm going home. I'm just going to start over. I'm just going to start over the next day, right? It's not worth it. But I think, so again, part of the reason why I really enjoy this time together is not only talk about things like this around the experience at the lounge, the experience of smoking cigar, the experience of the accessories, but we also want to use Burn and Learn as an opportunity to educate folks on a wide range of topics, right? So I'm super excited as I kind of wind down a corporate role and I move into some entrepreneurial endeavors with Stogie Hub. I'm super excited about spending time with people that have made a career out of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial ventures, right? So, when I think about knowing Christal for 18 years, I know every business that she's had and she's done well, right? And so I cherish the opportunity to just get a better understanding on, what are some of the upsides and downsides of being an entrepreneur? Like, how did you know that was your calling? Because you've done very well. And so I would just really like to spend a couple minutes on that. Like, how did you know?
I do from a very young age, actually, because my dad was an entrepreneur. So it was in my blood. And I happened to have the middle school. So I was home during the entrepreneurship days. And so I saw inside and out everything that it took. You have to have a very strong work ethic, because what a lot of people don't realize is that you work 3 times as hard as ending up your 40s. And especially when you're starting something from the ground up, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And you don't know what you don't know. If you're, like for you, this is your first opportunity to get into, the entrepreneurship world. And it's like, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. It's huge. It's very different from corporate America. It's not, there's nobody giving you a check at the end of every 2 weeks. There's nobody, it's very, very different. And so I just think that you have to have the ability to handle risk really, really well, because a lot of times things don't make sense in terms of where, you have to spend a lot of money in order to get that return. And it's a high risk, but it's a high reward. And so for me, I mean, to be honest, I think I have like a little bit of like gambling mentality inside of me. And when I'm trying something, I don't always, like, somebody else might say, wow, I can't believe we can risk that. But I know that I'm willing to work hard enough to see it through. Whereas somebody else might say, well, hey, I'm going to put in my, 10 hours a day, because that's the minimum we can do when you're an entrepreneur. And you're still a company. I'm putting in my 10 hours a day, and after that, I'm done. For me, I'll say, okay, I can do 16. I can do 18. I can make it happen, because on top of that, I have 4 kids. So that's, career number 2.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, a lot of what you said resonated. I mean, look, I am, almost 90 days into creating a new venture. And in those 90 days, I mean, I don't think I've worked this hard, right? I started my career in commercial lending and corporate lending. And that was challenging in itself and difficult, but it does not compare to what the last 90 days have been, right? Like, I was trying to share with my wife, like, I am the general counsel, the CBO, the CFO, the chief marketing officer, you name it. And some of these things I have background or familiarity with, so it comes natural. But a lot of the stuff, literally, I'm educating myself as I'm making decisions. I'm educating myself as I'm creating marketing plans, business plans, etc. So you have to be, what I've learned is that you have to be an expert in a lot of areas. And while you have people around you that will support and help you, the buck stops with you, right?
That's actually a good point, because I also think that when you're starting something new, you want to get the advice from people that everybody's going to have a different opinion. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you cannot please everybody. It is not their company, it's yours. And so you have to determine, okay, this is the direction that I want to go, and this is the look and feel that I want. Obviously, you take in the advice and the counsel, you know, as much as you want. But at the end of the day, it's your decision and it's your company and it's your money. And their opinion isn't costing them anything.
I had a question. So you've been doing this, you said, for how long again? Like in entrepreneurship?
My whole life.
Your whole life? Okay. So with social media becoming a thing within the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I guess more popular, how has social media changed the way you go about doing business?
I hate social media. You can find me at Christal Golston on everything, but I don't like it. I would say I started my career in real estate, and it's because I was very young and I had bought and sold 3 properties by the time I was 21 years old, and people just would have helped me. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to get my real estate license. Like, nobody's going to help me and they don't take me seriously. So I built my real estate career from a very young age, and there was no social media then whatsoever. Because I did that for so long, for me, I don't have to advertise that aspect of what I do. And I only work with somebody if they're a friend or if they were referred by a friend. I'm not advertising. I've never advertised. I've never done any of that. So that is probably different than what 99.9% of real estate brokers are doing today. I value helping people that I love versus just when they go transactional. Like I'm not a transactional person. I want to help people. But my next business, which was my med spa, well, have to be social media. So for me personally, that's, you know, I had to hire somebody to do that. It's actually, she's the most wonderful manager I could ever had wanted in any business that I've ever had. She is by far a jewel. And so she handles all of that, thank God, because I'm not good at it. And a lot of times she'll say, can you please repost this? I'm like, here's my phone. You just do it, you know, like just do it. I don't know what to do. So there's certain businesses that thrive out with it and other ones that it isn't. Like my genetics lab, I don't need to do social media for that. We're going after doctors and stuff. And it's like, you know, I'm sitting down, like this would be more advantageous to me than social media is meeting up, you know, at cigar bars because there's doctors there. I'm talking to them about, you know, the different testing things we have at the laboratory. So for that business, we don't even have social media for that business. So it just depends. I think for something like what C's doing, it's imperative. You have to have it. Like you have to get the word out. You have to like let people know that you're there. There's not a sales force that's going on because it's community based. And that's the cool thing about this is it's individual people that have the same passion that he has. And then you're able to say, you know what? Like you said, I don't want this anymore. I want that. How do I get rid of it? How do I justify this in my way? You know?
With the whole Stogie Hub concept. No, I like that. I absolutely appreciate that. I think the thing that also I'm have always known, but now I'm really learning is that people don't do business with companies. People do business with people.
Absolutely.
And so Christal's being very humble, right? I've known her a long time. I think I have bought and sold 2, maybe 3 houses. And I have never, ever thought about buying or selling a piece of real estate without hiring Christal to handle everything for it. So shout out on that. But I think so that's the business relationship, the personal relationship, and she's being humble, is that not only does she have a knack for real estate, a knack for negotiating and closing deals, she has all these like wraparound services that you wouldn't expect. And what do I mean by that? So I bought 2 houses, and my wife and we're not interior decorators. Christal has a knack to that. I literally 2 houses. I said, Christal, get it painted, the interior, just make it nice and neat. Do whatever you want. Like, I didn't tell her what colors. I didn't tell her like the trim. I literally told her, just, you know us, make it nice and neat. And so I don't know a lot of people that would do that. And so she knocked it out of the park on both houses, right? And so that's what I mean by doing business with people as opposed to companies. Do you think I'm going to get that level of service and that personal touch with any other real estate agent? Maybe. I'm just not willing to test the market, right? I have my person, and it's not worth me going out and talking to another person, right? So for me, that's what I want. Like, that's what I want to create with Davidoff, right? I want people to feel like there's value there for this community and that they don't necessarily need to go somewhere else to see value. Now, I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, but the good news is working with Christal and other entrepreneurs, I have an appreciation for what it takes. And with their help and guidance, I'm really hoping to get there sooner rather than later. So super excited about that.
I'm excited of it too.
But when you talk about like the real estate, the genetics, the testing company, and the med spa, right? How do you decide which businesses are meaningful for you to focus on? I'm sure a lot of it is, some of it's targeted and some of it is opportunities that come to you where you do the assessment and you're like, yeah, this sounds like something I could do well in.
So
How does that work?
opportunity is 60% and my own personal interest and passion is 60%. So before I did the lab, during COVID, I had a company, and a lot of people did, and I was sourcing things from overseas for people at different massive tests and stuff like that. So that's how I ended up meeting more people that were in the laboratory space and the healthcare space. But what people don't know is years ago, I was super into cryogenetics. So I had 4 kids. I was having a lot of babies and I wanted to freeze the cord blood. So when you do that, there's only a few companies and the law says, well, their contract states this. Their contract states that if you stop paying, it belongs to the company to do any testing on it that they want to do. And I was like, you're not going to do that. Like 100 years from now, I don't want 500 little knees running around. So I went through the whole process of doing just like hundreds of the research. I went to every seminar, everything I could find on cryogenetics. And then I was like, I've had work, I'm done. And I haven't started this yet. I was like, oh, well, it is what it is. But I still, like, that was such a passion for me at that time. And then when the opportunity for me to get involved in a genetics lab came about, I had the little bit of background from what I did with COVID. And then I had all the extensive, knowledge that I had done 10 years previous that I honestly didn't even ever talk to anybody about. So for me, it's like opportunities arise, but then I had this passion that came with it. So that's how the laboratory started. The med spa, I'm passionate about not getting old.
About what?
Not getting
old. Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't want to get that. I don't want to.
Love the honesty. And I'm chuckling a bit, but I will have to admit that I am a client of the med spa. Right? Like, I'm not going to go into detail about what goes on, but I am
a lot of secret stuff goes on in that med spa. Let me tell you. Yeah.
So no, this is awesome. So couple of quick questions before we wrap up, right? So, your kids, you mentioned 4 kids.
Yeah.
I know the kids loving the debt. Any thoughts around their interest in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's like the discussion at the dinner table every night.
Okay.
So they all have great ideas. And my goal in life is to, at the point that I sell on my company, I just want an incubator for not only my kids, but my nieces, my nephew, because it's in our blood. It's literally in our blood. And they have some business ideas that, like, my kids for fun will, hey, Mom, look at this business plan that I did. Literally. And they'll have, like, the whole business plan. My son started his own LLC without even, like, telling me about it this summer. He's like, oh, I have a window washing company. I already did the LLC. I've been getting estimates and washing windows. And I was like, okay. And he did. He went out and he did it, So
That's awesome.
I think the harder thing for me is going to be making sure that they know how hard it is and they know how hard I work.
Yeah.
And so they don't, like, their work ethic is, stellar. All of my children are stellar. And different ones have different personalities. And I have 2 out of the 4 that I know are going to probably be entrepreneurs. I can see it already.
Okay.
And then, but it's not for everybody. Some people need a little bit more stability. they do better know like how much they're gonna make every TV, That I think it's just in my DNA. I need to test that at the lab.
She's got the lab to do. I think it's kind of cool.
I've told you about
Probably gonna do the
I've told you about my little idea for my side gig, right?
Let you know.
just divert it to Shark Tank. Like, you're pitching, and she's judging your.
Okay, so my idea is I had this idea when we were in London.
The argument that you say it on.
No. It's actually not like it's
You don't care.
yeah.
Give it to him straight.
Okay. So my idea is to go around and essentially I would bring like some cigars and I would go to parties and then I would like provide cigars and I would teach them how to like properly light it and properly cut it and light it and kind of educate them on how to like smoke a cigar. And I would charge based. I don't need to go into rates or whatever, but essentially that's my business idea is to like go to like weddings, like parties or whatnot, and provide cigars, nice cigars, not just your run of the mill cigars, and just sit there and kind of, I don't know. This is kind of like off the cuff, like quick thought that came into my head. I was like, oh, I should ask her. But that's.
I think it's a great idea, but I think you need to have a beautiful woman with you as your assistant.
Oh, okay.
Very good advice. I love that. I love
So real. Be a lot more successful. That you're not a handsome man. You are, but you're going into an environment where mostly men are going to be there and they need a reason to walk up to you.
So kind of like mobile cigar lounge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like when we were in London, and those guys were. We'll probably talk about it in a different episode about our London trip, but they were in nice clothes and they would properly cut it and they would just kind of light it and kind of give you that service, right?
I like it. Yeah.
And so
I like that.
No, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Happy to have more conversations around that and see if we can evolve that. So as we start to wrap, Christal, what advice would you have for budding entrepreneurs? Like, what wisdom would you impart if you had just a couple minutes to share?
Yeah, I would say that you need to have very thick skin because there's always going to be somebody that says your idea is stupid. Okay, always. And then I think you also need to have a lot of passion because something's going to happen where you're going to be like, this is really what I need to be doing. So if you're already passionate about what it is, then you're enjoying the time that you're spending. So for you, it's either you're just hanging out as a bar lounge. But for other...
I'm essentially monetizing my hobby.
I'm like, this is idea.
I love that. Do something every day that you love and you never work another day in your life.
And it's true. And I just think about like what you were saying in terms of how I outlook like design and all the other aspects of the house. It's because I'm passionate about it and I love it, so I don't want to see my product not look beautiful. And when somebody comes in your house, I don't want to see them say, oh, who do I have like good style? Like, I'm going to say, this is gorgeous and beautiful, So it's the same mindset of if you are passionate about something and you love it, you're going to give 110%. It can never just be about the money. It can never just be, and you have to make money also. So that's my advice. We should be ready to work really, really hard and have some days that are really high. And then your passion should carry you to the ones that are low.
Gotcha. No, I think very good advice. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm for one, listening to every word, right? Because a lot of what you're sharing will be very helpful for me. And so again, we want to thank you for being a guest again on short notice.
Oh, let me plug my med spa, Nova Med Sculpt in Fairfax, or Golston Real Estate, also in Fairfax, my real estate company. You want genetics testing? That's Genetics.
Gotcha. And as we wrap again, I'm happy to share and evolve the Stogie Hub story. Again, you can hit my Instagram, stogie.hub, where we're keeping folks updated on our progress. Looking forward to a launch in mid February or so. So look out for that. You can follow us on social. Again, we want to take this opportunity to thank Justin and James at Rebellion Cigar Room. Very nice venue, the opportunity to have great and engaging conversations over a cigar. Super helpful. So with that, we'll wrap up. We look forward to the next episode. And so thanks a lot. Everybody take care.